Welcome, Simsbury Community Television sports fans, to Inside Trojan Football, where we have been providing the SCT viewers with a closer look at the Simsbury High School football program throughout their recent seasons. This is the 11th year of coverage for Simsbury football, bringing you the Friday Night Lights Trojan home games here on SCTV. I'm Roger Coombes, and as always, with me today is Dave Masters in his 7th year as head coach after many seasons as a top assistant coach. We all know what the 2020 Connecticut football season and how it was canceled, but the young men are back on the gridiron fields in their fall of 2021 season. We are at the halfway point of the 10-game season as we record this show October 21st. And the squad is currently standing at 3 wins and 2 losses. We also have about 12 minutes of highlight film from these first 5 games, and Coach Masters will be able to walk us through the action. Many thanks to hardworking, dedicated, hard-hitting Johnny Helmkamp for putting together the video piece we will be watching during this show. Thanks, Helmer. Coach, as the Grateful Dead used to sing, what a long, strange trip it's been.
Yeah, it sure has.
COVID,
Yeah.
you didn't play for about 350 days.
Yeah.
650 days.
There was some number someone threw out on social media, and when you see it, it's like, wow, that's really a long time.
That really is. It was 668 for your first home game.
Oh.
So
sort of home game.
Sort of home game. And that's why the trip continued to be so crazy, because the first game of the year, September 12th, I believe, we had to play our home game at Granby High School.
Yeah, well, the turf had an issue. We had all that rain, that crazy summer, but we had a bunch of rain that impacted the field, and then the settling of the turf, because there was just so much water, it got shifted. And so, we had a whole bunch of people come out. Like we went out to practice one night and we're like, something's not right. And there were like divots in this weird pattern. And so we got on the phone right away, and that started a pretty long, I think 3-4 week process of, getting someone out to come out, and then they cut out the middle section of the turf and replaced it. And, to be quite honest, we were one of the programs that was least impacted because we only had one home game scheduled. I felt bad for the soccer field hockey teams, which practice on the turf and which have all their games on the turf.
Sure.
So it really impacted them, but we were able to secure a field at Granby High School and move our New Britain game to that field. A great facility, and they were super to host us, and Jeff and Steve Petrina and the crew, they did a good job of getting a facility for us, because with COVID, it was a little unsure whether we could move our whole operation there, and it's a big operation, when we moved over there. So it was a lot of people, and, we filled their stands. We walked over, or we got off the buses, our 3 buses, and we walked in, and there was, there's a lot of people coming onto their turf as they were leaving their JV game. So it was, during the day, it was, there were a lot of weird kind of things for us. And actually the Hall game turned out to be weird too because of the time. So that was another kind of schedule that got thrown off for that. So it was a weird start, coming off of COVID. But to be honest, we were so focused and happy to be playing. It really didn't really even matter where I know I didn't want to go to New Britain to play. I knew I wasn't into that, That was the one thing. I wanted it somewhere in the valley here. So
definitely.
That's what we got.
Why did you play at Hall on Saturday?
Well, the Hall game got bumped because the team they played the week before had an issue with COVID and quarantine. And so their game couldn't be played. So they moved it. And so everything shifted over.
See.
A lot of teams are having issues with, a quarantine issue, and then they're going to the bye week. At least Hall was able to maintain their game with us. So they played on a Monday night. I guess it was East Hartford. And then they ended up playing us on Saturday morning at 10.
Saturday.
And that's a weird time. Saturday morning at 10 a.m. is a weird time.
For 16, 17, 18-year-olds.
So,
yeah.
But it was again, we were just happy to be playing. So it didn't really truthfully matter one way or the other. It's just an odd time, I guess.
Yeah, some tough turnovers in that game. But we'll get back into all that. John Helmkamp has put together about 12 minutes of video that we're going to watch, and that's going to be fun. I think that's what people really enjoy seeing, and they really like the way you describe the plays, because maybe some of our viewers can't watch a full game either on Channel 95
Yeah.
or Channel 1070. It's always available online on demand at simsburytv.org. But having a nice 5-game clip with your commentary gives folks.
Well, I think John's, he has that angle from the sideline too, and then
so
we
nice.
also have the end zone camera that gives a different angle too. It's always nice to look at the game from different views. I mean, as in TV, you get to see it from umpteen million flying over the top views too.
Sure.
So that's always good.
So 3-2 right here. You had New Britain, and we'll get into that. A shutout. First time I believe that Simsbury shut out New Britain in some ungodly amount of time.
Not since I've been involved, since '03 for sure. So, I mean, it was
that,
it clearly they were struggling.
Yep.
Off
They're
of
down.
Off of the I don't know whether it was COVID. They had a new coach.
Tabucky's not there.
It won't take long for them to get it together. I don't think. I think they're they'll be back to their standards. I would assume. I don't know what their record is since then.
They're 1-4.
Yeah, I think that they'll figure it out. I just think that it's a real struggle that first game
Sure.
trying to go. We have a lot of resources. I have a great coaching staff. There's a lot that that gives us some tools to not fall too far behind, like we've talked about before. So it was nice to have those things in place, and I feel like we hit the ground running with that.
That was a nice opening game.
Yeah.
They've been having some distractions at New Britain High School, I'm sure you've seen.
Yeah.
And I was saying on our broadcast, that's not a typical New Britain squad.
No, I wouldn't say it was by any stretch. So, that set us up for the next game, which was always,
Hall.
I can't remember.
Hall.
Yeah, I can't remember a game with Hall where something either bizarre hasn't happened or it's been just real gritty, like in 2019 where no one scored an offensive touchdown till the last, till actually in overtime, and then
That field goal.
Yeah, I mean, that was that, and then this game, it was back and forth. They went up by a lot, then we came back, and then we had those 2 turnovers late, which really cost us
kickoffs.
the game. Yeah, really.
That's tough time to turn over.
And that's the first time those 2 gentlemen, have touched the ball. Where it's a first varsity game, they're in a spot where it doesn't normally. It's just a weird.
That's
spot.
right, Coach, because New Britain didn't score, so they only probably got 1 kickoff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and that's the story of the season. There's lots of that's something we got. Oh yeah, I forgot we haven't covered that.
Yeah.
Oh, how to line up on the sideline. Oh, we hadn't covered that yet. You know what I mean? There's a lot of those things that have gone away. I at Platt we had the scrimmage, and we have a very regimented lineup for this national anthem, whatever. Just so it things that were commonplace and in place. And then that no one knew how to do because none of those kids had ever been on a varsity field before.
Sure.
So it's those types of things, and you're getting used to it and the game experience, which we're getting, and it's coming along. So it's a work in progress for sure.
As I said on the broadcast of the Glastonbury game, these players here were freshmen or sophomores in high school last time. So you had guys that were playing on a Friday night lights game that played freshmen last time they played competitive football. So, and your opponents did too, but that's like you say, just the little things are like lining up. You can't cover everything.
Yeah, well, you try to, and you just learn from it, so you make adjustments on the fly. And I mean, that's kind of how football goes anyway. Like you're like, oh, I guess we took. You can't really take anything for granted.
Yeah.
I guess that's why you have a week to practice and a week to prepare, and then you can hit it on all cylinders.
Football.
But you can't cover everything, like you said, Raj. And sometimes things are just not going to go your way, and clearly that's happened a couple times this year. But generally, we're learning and growing and getting better.
And the guys are having fun.
Yeah, and I think that's really the predominant thing.
Such a family atmosphere, and they're proud wearing those jerseys around school. I can assure you of that.
Yeah.
Well, good. Coach has some names and some stats that I have as well. But as we watch the video, you'll be calling on some guys that you thought were really young players that have grown and contributed. You got your senior leadership, which has really stepped up nicely. And then you got a couple injuries.
Yeah.
And, you're averaging 31 points a game against 18 given up in the first 5 games. That's impressive.
Yeah, well, the shutout helps, and then our goal is to try and score a certain, like we have a goal board in our office, and we want to score a certain amount of points. We feel like we can win with that number, and if our defense keeps their number down too. So it's a give and take in that situation, but we want to be able to score a certain amount of points, and we've been able to do that. We've been able to run the ball effectively. with Evan and John and well, lots of contributors at this point. And we're our passing game, which we anticipated taking a little longer because that's a finer,
Sure.
even though we do all those passing leagues, it's a lot different when you got a defensive line chasing you around, and there's a lot of variables you can't simulate until you have someone from Maloney chasing you down to plant you in the ground. So,
On the road.
yeah, so there's things that the passing game is getting there, taking its time, and we're adjusting it as we go. But I feel like we're able to advance that stuff too. So yeah, the offense is playing well, and the defense, under Coach Mike Fury is always, the first couple of games figuring out what we are and then taking off from there, because he does an excellent job of figuring out what our strengths, weaknesses, and then playing to our strengths for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's a veteran offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
And that's,
Coach Moose and
again,
Coach Fury.
Yeah, again, that goes to, if you can keep your coaches on your staff for a consistent number of years and not have that changeover where you have to change the whole system, that's a plus too. And that's what we've been able to have. Our coaching staff is pretty much the same.
You got a great coaching staff. I tell people all the time of how you have put together just an incredible group. And I love, me, I bleed blue and gold, but I love all the returning Trojan players.
Yeah, well,
staff.
What better to, if you want a coach to be motivated, have them return to their school they went to.
That's huge.
I just think, and they're excited about it, and the kids love them, and they know they're a Trojan. And so that's a lot, that's great stuff.
That is great stuff.
I'm pretty excited about that too. Our coaching staff, well, you know how I feel about the coaching staff. I can't tell anybody enough, how great they are. So.
And what I tell people, Coach, is the reason you got such a great staff, in my opinion, it starts with you, Dave. These guys love you, Dave.
Yeah.
And the players love you, and the families love you. That's huge. That makes a big difference,
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the plus side, to have a good working relationship with all the people. But you got to be invested in it, and I think most coaches who are invested in the whole process of football, from the youth to the freshmen to the all-state to the parents, it's a lot of work. But if you're passionate about it and you truly love it, I think and I hope that that's what comes through, is our love for Trojan football, and we have a great work ethic as a staff. And I just think that that's what I want. I like it's easy to do good things when you have such a great staff, and Liz Butler and the Gridiron Club and the administration. It's just a wonderful opportunity, and I feel lucky all the time, for sure.
And what I tell people a lot too, Dave, is that there's so much involved, and there's so much more important than just the games. I know that Friday night game's important, but you have so many activities, and your teams are so close, and they have so many things they do together. And we'll get into that a little after we watch the video.
Sure. I think that helps with the winning.
Oh, I would agree. Yeah. I would agree. So we'll take about 12 minutes, and Coach Masters is going to walk us and take us right into the action. We want to thank John Helmkamp again for putting together this outstanding piece. We hope you enjoy it, and we'll be back with you to wrap up after Coach gives us a run through on the highlights. All right, Coach, take us through. We got Simsbury, New Britain, 9-11.
At Granby High School.
At Granby High School.
All right, so what we're going to see, first of all, this addresses some of the photographers. I'm going to pass along their names, but kids work hard on their entrances. That's a big part of it now. They see it. So the New Britain team, and this is obviously at the Granby High School field, like we talked about previously. We had all aspects of the offense working here. That's a quick screen to John Myrano, who's running. I think he's up near 600 yards at this point. Mm-hmm. But we had the quarterback run here with Evan, which is really one of his strengths. The kid's super fast. I think it's a 4.6. And, between he and Johnny, our running game is pretty good. Daniel Sullivan, who you just had kicked there, who also just booted this down towards the end zone.
He's got a leg.
He's got a leg. And so we have a bunch of touchbacks, which is key in high school football, because I got to be honest, the kickoff return or kickoff and their return is the stressful part of the game.
Interesting.
It's a
lot can happen.
A lot can happen, and like we said, not a lot of it good. So, John's a tough runner. I think on display here is their ability to be elusive. Both Evan and he do not go down easy. Mm-hmm. They both are pretty tough. You're going to see a shot here of the defense, which has been playing great. Good penetration here. You got Niles Rango chasing, who's a young kid coming up. Austin Coro is coming up to make the play. So you've got a lot of youth on the defense. That's making the kid that just, forced the quarterback in the pocket, Will McCusker, is his first year playing football.
Wow.
He's on defense. He contributes on offense. And he's one of the kids that's a massive kicker for us as well. That's Truding, who's leading the team in tackles at this point.
45 tackles.
Yeah,
Zach
he's good.
Truding.
Yep. Here is one of our twin towers. That's Teddy Murphy. On the other side in this game was Nolan Condorino. They're both 6'4" or 6'5", 6'6" kids, real big, tall kids.
Great targets.
And they big targets. Evan does not play defense all the time, our quarterback. He did in this game, and he had a pick 6.
That was his pick. One of his 4 touchdowns in this game.
So he contributes on defense in our nickel package because he's a great athlete and he's good at all sides of the ball. That's another sophomore kid, Austin Coro, who's contributing, So we've got a lot of young kids contributing, a lot of sophomores contributing, a lot of juniors contributing, and tied in with the seniors. So really from week to week, there's a bunch of kids that have been stepping up. I see Mitch Wallum he was playing tight end there, had a nice kick out block that sprung John for that long run. I'm looking at all these numbers and I'm looking at these sophomores who were freshmen, when we last played. So, and this is their first game. Now that's John's brother, Chad. This is towards the end of the game here.
Almost got in. And, we took a knee after that. We got all the way down there, but we're not We're not about that. Piling on.
Yeah.
So now we move to Saturday, the 18th against Hall, who's 5-0 right now.
Yeah. So that's the first play or the second play of the game, and Evan took off and went. And like I said, this was both offenses were rolling on this. They had a kid that's Austin again, we've mentioned before, who's our starting corner now. This kid could run. We had difficulty stopping him, but we did. We stopped him enough to really hold him and stay in this game, where a lot of teams have not been able to do that.
What a nice spin move.
Yeah, we worked on really trying to tackle that kid and focus on him because that was our offense. But we were able to run the ball. Again, John found holes, and our line is creating a new line of scrimmage. That's one of our twins. That was Benny. Yeah. I know how to identify him because Benny is B, begins with, earlier in the alphabet, and then 66 is Denny. That's how I have to, because you can't tell them apart. They're both got a lot of energy.
And you're not going to pronounce their last name?
No, I don't even try. I don't even try their first names. I can't do it. That's why I even try. So, that game didn't go our way. Mostly we turned it over a couple times at the end, and that just was not good for us.
So we head to Maloney on the 24th of September, and they're 4-1 right now.
Yep.
So that's
again
9-1.
Yep.
The last 2 teams you played.
Yeah, and this is a game that we needed to contain their run game. They have a receiver who's number 1, who you may see here. They may be catching this. It's a nice pick. Yep. Again, that's our guy John, who's contributing on the offensive and the defensive side a lot. He's a significant player for us. He's a difference maker. But we were able to move the ball again on offense. We didn't score enough. We held them to 28, which we thought
21.
Or 21, it was 21-14.
Yeah.
We held them to 21. We tried to keep them under 28. We tried to score 28. We had a couple opportunities. We had a ball that was in the end zone that we weren't able to convert on. We had another screen that went through the hands, that we could have led to something.
And a little bit of a questionable call too, didn't you?
Well,
you don't get into that.
No, I don't even care. Whatever they call is what they call, and not changing.
You probably watched that play over.
Yeah, and I would agree it was a pick. He picked it off. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You stole it from us.
I actually saw it live, and I thought that. So, yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I like that attitude, Dave.
And so it doesn't make any difference. Back when I was younger, I used to care about that stuff. But what am I? Who cares? No one cares.
That's smart. That's maturity.
Just wastes time. So, again, our kicker Daniel is great. He's on all-state pace. He's I think he's 6 for 6 in the last game. He's a junior. Yeah, so he is. He contributes on offense. He's another young kid. Now his dad helps us coach and has
Doc
for years.
Sully.
He's our leadership guy.
Oh, what a guy he is! I played in the golf tournament. You put me with him in the golf tournament.
Super guy.
That was so much fun. I rode with him.
So if you're wondering, how many Evan and John highlights, it's it's a two-headed monster. Yeah. It's a run game offense. You got Noble here at the corner, another kid who's really turned it on. We asked him to locked down #1, their best receiver. Guess what he did? So these kids are stepping up.
Noble Gagnon.
Nope, yep. And then Drew Hunter, who just got held there, is playing out of his mind defensively. Zach, show it off. But Drew Hunter is a senior for us, dedicated to the weight room, much bigger, much stronger than most, and just playing great football.
Here's our first real home game at Holden Field on October 1st, homecoming weekend.
Yep.
And Glastonbury, the Guardians come in.
Switched over from their, their former mascot. This is the first time we've played him as Guardian. So, but homecoming is always the battle of the berries, a lot of build up. And we've been able to win against them for the past few years. Last in 2019 was close. And this game, we were able to move the ball for sure. Played some good, solid defense. Lucas Sanborn, while I'm looking at him here, and of course Alex keeps us all healthy, and he's amazing.
Oh, he's a great guy.
But Lucas Sanborn's another kid that's good. This kid, Garrett Dejanay, that's a great play. He is playing some unbelievable football as a defensive lineman, flying around the field. CJ Taddeo, play right there, sticking his nose in there, and Isaac Rivera as seniors. I mean, they're just playing. Some of these kids are really contributing. What we want to get to a point is where we're consistent on every play.
Sure.
We haven't had hit on all cylinders on every play all the time. And that's really what we're going to need to in these next 5 games to play, great football and win these games. Because as we're going to talk about, our schedule coming up is crazy. The fans of this game,
there we go,
unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, we've just had great fan support, traveling and stuff. So it's really been wonderful. There's CJ and Zach, again, 2 senior leaders. Colin Pinnock here in the corner of our screen is another senior who's coming on strong, and we hope to get him the ball.
Johnny Mai.
Well, like I said, you're going to have a lot of these kind of highlights from him for sure. But the defense played well, certainly when they needed to, and made some big plays on this. Chad Myrano is now playing on defense as well. Kind of side by side with his brother. And that play, again, I've mentioned his name 3 or 4 times now, is Austin. He's a little fired up. You know what I mean? But that's how you got to play this game. You got to play with a lot of emotion.
It's been so long. There's Dan Girardi there.
Yep. You go, he's on the side.
Dr. G, I love him.
You got to play this game with emotion, and you've got to, but, we talk about playing with emotion and not being emotional. That's Zach Truding taking it.
Nice pick.
And that's on a punt, a fake punt.
There's Coach Massey. Look at him.
I got
those
ups.
on the fake punt.
I got ups.
You do have ups.
I was towering over people.
I think you could jump over the phone book.
Well, I tried, but that hurt. But look at the sidelines. These are young kids that are just excited to be there, and that's another thing too, that we're contributing. So along with the run game comes the offensive line and their ability. It's a senior-laden group. With
I was impressed with that offensive line.
You got Jack Garrity, James Love up in there.
Your center, James Love. I always have so much respect for those centers.
Smart kid, Merit Scholar. One of the.
He's got a brother too, right?
Yep. And there's Noble. We turned this kid into a corner a few games ago, and now he's doing his thing.
Quick study.
Oh yeah. Well, he's super fast, fastest kid we have. So he can compete with the speed aspect. And when we get to the Enfield game, you're going to see him score for the first time, which was great for him. So, obviously forcing stuff like this, and then Johnny Myrano deciding that.
I thought the game was closer than that score would show.
I don't know. I mean, we didn't feel like we weren't in control. So, games that we are not hitting on all cylinders, that game we kind of were, so it felt pretty good.
So now we move on to the 5th game, October 8th at Enfield.
Yep. And this game was not
pretty.
No. We were up, I think, 21 in the first quarter. So we got to do some different things. This is Chad Myrano, who is, John's brother, obviously.
He's a sophomore.
Got to run in this game a lot. We used a bunch of running backs in this game. We're able to get a lot of kids.
There's Murph.
Touches. Yep. Tried to get in. When you're 8 feet tall, it's, run as quick as some of the shorter guys we have. But, Evan's strength is always he's a playmaker. He's fast. He's strong, and he's going to make plays. And it's hard to keep him. It's hard to keep a kid like that out of the end zone. And that's a super play by Ravi Bamidapati, whose brother Arjun was a stud for us in 2019 at defensive end. And so we don't talk about that. It's nice to see that he's coming along and making some progress. And that's the thing with this game.
Look at that.
And that's our boy Colin, who is a senior.
That was his first TD.
First TD.
Nice.
It's exciting when
Colin
you can
Pinnock.
get those. Yep, Colin Pinnock. And if you're wondering if he's related to the Pinnox from
Andrew
Bloomfield,
from Bloomfield?
you're right.
He is?
Yeah,
Wow.
distantly. Like second cousins to their, all kinds of stuff, like tags on that. So Charlie Strayer is another guy who's coming along fast. I see him at the two-hole here. He's coming along and making progress, and he's really starting to contribute. And he's a younger guy. So this game was great for us. Here's Noble's touchdown. And this is just pure speed.
Nice.
You know what I mean? We're going to work on ball security a little bit with him as we move forward.
He'll be in your backfield next year?
Yeah. He's there now. We have a 2-back set, which he's in there with Chad. And again, Dan, I'm going to, you can close your eyes, and he's pretty consistent here. So that was 6 for 6. Yeah. The best thing about our kicking game right now is the touchbacks. We are able to put it in the end zone and not get a return.
I see.
We like that. That's Mitch Wallum, another sophomore kid who's playing on offense and defense at this juncture of the season. So, we're making some good progress up in here.
There's Chad.
And that's Chad. And that's Chad's first TD. So
nice.
It's a lot of good and fun stuff when you can get those kids those touches.
He is a little bigger than John.
Yeah. I mean, if you ask John, I think John would argue that. There's nothing like having brothers on the same team.
Yeah.
And that conversation, that's Jerry Hughes, who's really, he loves football, wants to play all the time, and he's a real aggressive kid. So, that game was great for us heading into the bye, getting kids a lot of touches, and able to head into this next stretch, having seen some more kids to contribute.
That's excellent. Nice job, Coach Masty. That was great. Can I ask you, though, a question? Is that, you tell me if I'm wrong, but I saw in the Glastonbury game you had your QB returning punts. That's kind of dangerous, isn't it?
Not if he's fair catching the whole time.
Is that what you tell him to do?
Yeah, if he's out there, it's going to be a fair catch.
I
generally.
see.
But he's got the best hands.
Yeah.
So
no,
when
I understand that.
Punt, listen, on punt, here's what we want: the ball. And that's it. I don't care how many yards we get off the return.
Gotcha. That's smart.
That's
high school football.
Yeah, the punt and a fumbled punt return is another hold your breath moment, kind of like the kickoff for me. Like I just wanted it caught and done.
Well, you did a nice job touching on all your guys who are contributing. Also, want to talk Isaac Rivera's got 23 tackles, 2 TDs. Yeah. Drew Hunter's got 25 tackles, 2 sacks.
Yeah.
So, and then Johnny Myrano's got 8 TDs and Ev's got 7.
Yeah.
And like you said, they both have about 600 yards apiece rushing.
Well, I don't know how much Evan has. I think he might be a little less than that, but I think he's generally around that number. I know John's got a few more, and because
471 for Wally.
Yeah. So
and 563 for Johnny.
So that's all. We're pushing 1,000 yards rushing in the first half of the season, which is good.
That's real good. I mean?
Real good. And then our passing game will start to catch up with that, and then we'll start. We have to hit on all cylinders. Like we said, we're heading into the kind of the meat of the schedule. We're going to play some very good football teams coming up. And we start this tomorrow night. Going over to Windsor for the first time in I forget how many years, but that's a battle. There's a lot of energy. And so, I think they've only lost to St. Joe's.
Yes, 4-1, which is a powerhouse, St. Joe's.
Yeah, we scrimmaged them in the beginning of the season.
Oh, you did? Yeah, you had a good scrimmage against them.
We did. We did, and that was beneficial for us to go down there and see that. So, our mission right now is to try and we're really not looking ahead. We're trying to get the Windsor because, with 2 losses on the season, every win and loss matters at this point in terms of playoff picture. They haven't expanded the playoffs for us at this point. So our mission is to try.
Is there talk about that?
Yeah, there is in terms of even next year expanding the playoffs. So
I'm all for that.
Because there's a lot of teams that can end up, the year we were 7-3 in 2017, we lost 2 games by 1 point or something like that. Yeah. And it'd be nice to expand it.
I agree.
If we can. I'm not of the mindset that you need to open it up and everyone gets in there. I think you want to still earn your spot.
Right.
But a team that's 8-2 that doesn't get in the playoffs that's tough. It's hard to win football games. If you can win 8 games in a football season, you're good. But if you're 4-6, okay. Yeah. If you're 5-5, that's pushing it.
Sure.
So.
Well, in 2019, they went from 4 to 8, correct?
I don't even know.
You had 4 teams.
They expanded it then?
Yeah, 2019 when you went to the state semifinals.
That was the year before that, but
it could have been. You know better than I. And Dave, like basketball, baseball, as you know, he was a former head baseball coach at Hall.
You could
and
get in
Simsbury.
winning 40% of your games. And
That's not right.
I don't feel good about that.
No.
I mean, that's great, I guess. But maybe I'm different maybe if I'm in that situation, it's another opportunity. But I like playing a competitive schedule. I know our schedule is harder than most, in terms of on paper. But I also think that the kids get a lot out of it. Like it's the whole, you want to be the best, play the best, and you are what you are. So,
sure.
I get that question a lot. Why is your schedule so hard? And it's based on your wins and the success of your program.
You're in tier one.
And even the number of kids in your football program. So having a lot of kids in our program is another reason that we got dropped in on the schedule, which is fine.
Yeah. No, you're in tier one with Conard, East Hartford, Glastonbury, Hall, Maloney, New Britain, Simsbury, Southern. Those are big schools. And then you go out and you play a couple tier two teams in Windsor, just one there, but then tier three Bloomfield. Mm-hmm. So Coach, after you go to Conard, they're 2 and 3. Then you got Southington coming in, which got beat by Hall.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. That film was, Hall had a great strategy with Southington. They occupied the clock. They had it at twice as long as them, and then they took advantage of a couple mistakes by Southington, and they were able to capitalize and win the game.
Sure.
And Hall hasn't lost. They're 5-0. They won against us, and then the next week they picked up a fumble at the last second. So they've had some crazy wins, and they beat Platt in the last second. I think they're in overtime or something. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But so they're on a little run too. So it's been an interesting year for them. So after Southington, I think we probably go to East Hartford.
Yeah, and they're 2 and 3, but they're
Scoring
always
a lot of
good.
points.
You said they put up a lot of numbers.
Scoring a lot of points, super athletes. Some high level kids. They got some high level kids that are going to go play high level football.
Right.
So and then we finish.
And that's senior night, right? No, yeah.
East Hartford will be senior night.
Yeah, that's right. It's at Holden Field, and then we go to Bloomfield. Haven't played them in a long time.
Yeah, and
since you've been with the football program 20 years.
Yeah.
Have you ever played Bloomfield?
I think we stopped playing them. I can't really remember.
Do you know they have?
Because we used to, when I was at Hall, we played them. So I'm getting I'm getting older.
True,
I can't remember everything.
I read where they have the smallest male enrollment in the state.
They might all play football though.
They're good.
Yeah, they're good.
And their coach Ty Outlaw is a great coach.
He's a great guy. He's fun to talk to, and he's a great guy. Great name. If you're gonna name him,
great name.
Give me that name.
Ty Outlaw.
It's a good name. So,
that's going to be a good game.
And that game came about because Avon is not playing us anymore, and so we needed a game. We had to scramble for it. They were free, and we were free, so we went.
Hey, got to beat Windsor for me, Coach. A good buddy of mine played a lot of basketball with his grandson's starting corner.
Well, I'll go and I'll tell the guys that we got to win this game because of my buddy.
We just bet dinner. The loser. He wanted me to go out there, but I couldn't make it on Friday. Well, that sounds good. And then that Bloomfield game takes the place of Avon. A little different competition on that Tuesday. Yeah. Normally Gridiron Classic. Avon, we had to give up the Gridiron Classic. And that's all right.
It is what it is. It's change and moving on. And I like playing competition. And Bloomfield is definitely good competition. So they were in the state championship game in 2019. So, they'll be ready for us for sure.
Big time.
Yep.
Well, nice job there. And then let's just, love to call out some shout outs if we could. The Gridiron Club is amazing. It takes a family, and Liz Butler and Steve and the Garrity family.
Yeah, they just met the other night, and they've arranged, everything that we need, they take care of for us. And we raised a lot of money. We take care of the freshmen to the seniors, like Jersey Mike's gives us sandwiches.
They donate those?
Yeah. Yeah.
They donate all those subs.
Yep, they donate them every week to the freshmen on Thursdays, and then the JVs and the varsity on Friday nights.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's every week. And
that's 100 subs.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
That's $1,000.
We met with them, and they're football fans, and they want to support the program, and it's great. They're great people over there. And
I want to meet the owner or manager. Of that
they put one of our Be Uncommon signs is in the restaurant down here. It's just great. So that's been a good relationship. But we have good relationships with a lot of the community because of the Gridiron Club and their efforts and their communication. And you could go down a list of local places in Simsbury where we are involved with and you know, and support each other. You know, they come and support us, and we try to do the same thing with our football family, which grows and grows and grows.
What's the ice cream truck?
Oh, the ice cream truck was before Glastonbury as a reward for the doing such a good job with the fundraiser. Liz surprised the team and had an ice cream truck from Glastonbury come before the Glastonbury, and she got them ice cream. And it wasn't like the hood truck; it was like make your own cones, and it was great. So
that's
the whole,
cool.
We have team dinner every Thursday night. So that was the dessert for that night, and the gridiron, rewarded the team and the coaches, and we had our coaches' families come and their kids came, and it was a great event.
I love it,
and it's because the Gridiron Club and the boosters are so great, and we really try to create. We understand that it's more than the football game. You only play in 10 football games, and we're together 365 days a year, generally in one shape or form. So we do have a lot, and we do recognize the sacrifice that families have to make, and so we try to do as much as we can, not just on the football field, but on and off.
That's what I love. That's what I love. That's where your program's so unique.
Well,
from basketball and baseball, you just it's a whole different animal.
And it's because we're together all the time. We don't have any cuts, which allows us to keep everyone together.
Good
and we
point.
know who's going to be there every
Good
year,
point.
and so we just stay connected.
That's
and
nice.
It's a nice treat. It's a great thing. Yep.
Before we wrap up, tell us a little bit. You had a bye week this week, so you haven't played in 13, 14 days. You had show up some guest speakers from your alma mater, Enfield College.
Coach, who's the head lacrosse coach there, was there when I was there, and he's still there. And Jim Warnock, who was my first player I ever coached when he was 12. I was a student teacher at Summers. He was on my middle school basketball team. And he sent me a video one time, and he said, I want you to watch this video. And so Show Up was about giving back to people who showed up for you sometime in your life.
Interesting.
And so I was one of his 5 that he picked, which was really great.
That's cool.
But then I watched the presentation. Then I invited them to come and talk to our kids about showing up for people and recognizing people that have showed up for them. So that was really great. Springfield College, we could go on and on for, but that humanic spirit, mind, body philosophy run through and through. So that was great. And then during the bye week, we don't practice as long as hard that first week. And the kids went out to laser tag and bowling and did that whole night.
Fun.
So bye week allows us to do some of those other fun things to touch on and retouch on the program fundamentals.
That's nice stuff. That's team bonding. It's huge. And that's what we keep coming back to.
It's hard to come back to football day after day, dirty, hurt, and blah, blah, blah. So we like to throw a little fun in there, too.
Yep. And I know you got to get going soon because it's getting dark at night here. October 21st.
We changed our practice. We're going to go on the turf for a little bit now at night because we can't. We're throwing footballs on the. Maybe our passing game would do better if we, you know what I mean? So we can't have things, we can't play in the dark. So you
got to simulate the real action.
Right, correct. So we're going to go.
That sounds good. And then last thing, we got some great photographers. The pictures that are on social media are unbelievable. And you got Michelle Wingfield, Scotty Kerr, Dana Scott, John Scott does Easy Cam. And then you got Melissa Richards, who's a professional photographer who donates her time to the program.
To all 3 levels. She goes to the JV, freshman, and varsity.
Unbelievable. And you got our main man, hard-hitting Helmkamp, Johnny Helmkamp.
Well, the thing I love about those guys and those people is that they had kids that played in the program that no longer play in the program.
Right.
The Scotts, they got a kid at University of New Haven. Michelle has a kid that's playing lacrosse out in the middle. I forget where it is now. He's going to be mad at me.
Kerr.
Well, Scott Kerr was actually a baseball parent of mine who likes taking pictures, and he just likes the football action and being, so he's there. And then John, John. So, I think he's got like a twin brother, identical brother, because all the stuff he does, I don't know how he does it by himself. He's got to have someone. His videos are good too.
His videos are real good.
They deserve the recognition. They're there all the time. We are the best photograph team. I'll tell you that much for sure.
When you're as good looking as your coaching staff, it's easy to be like.
Some of them are, and not the whole staff.
Well, that's great. Well, this has been a blast. This wraps up our second 2021 edition of Inside Trojan Football here on SCTV. We look forward to broadcasting the remaining 2 home football games that we talked about. Love to have folks come out and support and see it for yourself. If not, channels 95 and 1070 bring you the action on SCTV. Also remember, all past games and coaches shows can be viewed on demand online at www.simsburytv.org. Thank you again to the fine folks here at Simsbury Community Television, Karen Hanville, Patrick Phelan, and all their excellent support. They are the best. Coach Masters, you do a great job. I love doing this with you. You coach both my boys in baseball, and you were one of the nicest, greatest coaches my boys ever had.
Thanks, Ryan.
These kids are lucky to have you, and I tell parents that all the time. You don't realize how lucky you are to have somebody like Coach Masters.
Thanks, Ryan.
Well, good luck at Windsor.
All right, let's go.
And as we always conclude, Trojan Pride.
Go Trojans.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.